My fiancée publicly humiliated me at a party. I walked out and haven't looked back. So I've been with my fiancée Chloe for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. I'm a restaurant manager, she works in marketing. On paper, we seemed solid. But last Saturday night changed everything. We were at a dinner party with about 10 of our friends. Mixed group, some from her work, some mutual friends, my buddy Josh from the restaurant. Normal evening, wine flowing, good food, everyone relaxed. Then someone brought up the topic of kids and starting families. You know how these conversations go when you're in your 30s. I made some joke about how I'd probably be the dad who burns breakfast but tries really hard. Everyone laughed. Then Chloe, sitting right next to me, turned to me with this little smile that didn't reach her eyes and said, "Honestly, you can barely take care of yourself. Why would I want to have kids with you?" The entire table went silent. Like that uncomfortable silence where people suddenly find their wine glasses fascinating. I could feel everyone's eyes darting between us, not knowing where to look. I felt like someone had punched me in the stomach. For a second I just sat there, fork halfway to my mouth, trying to process what she just said. Chloe laughed, this nervous little laugh, and touched my arm. "I'm kidding. You know I'm kidding, right?" But she wasn't kidding. I could see it in her eyes, that slight smirk. This wasn't a joke that slipped out. I set down my fork carefully. I felt my face get hot, my hands were shaking, but I kept my expression as neutral as I could. Then I took a breath and looked at Chloe. "Thanks for being honest about how you feel. I think that tells me everything I need to know about our future together." Her face changed then. The smirk disappeared. "Wait, what, Daniel?" I stood up and grabbed my jacket from the back of my chair. "Thanks for dinner," I said to the host. "I'll see myself out." "Daniel, don't be so dramatic," Chloe hissed, reaching for my arm. "Sit down." I pulled my arm away gently but firmly. "Enjoy the rest of your evening." I walked to my car while my phone started buzzing in my pocket. I didn't look at it, just drove home, poured myself a bourbon, and sat there thinking. Here's the thing that nobody at that table knew. This wasn't a surprise, not really. Chloe had been making comments like this for months. Little digs about my job not being impressive enough. Comparing me to her friends' boyfriends who were lawyers or worked in tech. Making jokes about my paycheck when we were out with her work friends. I'd brought it up privately before, and she'd always say I was being too sensitive or that she was just joking. But you know what? When someone repeatedly tells you they don't respect you, believe them, even if they tell you it's just joking. I've been slowly realizing over the past few months that I was more like a project to her than a partner, someone she wanted to improve rather than someone she actually valued. So yeah, I'd been preparing, not because I planned to end things, but because I knew I might need an exit strategy. Our lives were deeply intertwined. You don't just untangle 3 years together and 6 months engaged overnight. The apartment lease is only in my name. We kept separate bank accounts because she wanted to maintain independence. I made sure all my important documents were organized. We hadn't exactly put anything down for the wedding either. So yeah, basically it was already done. We were done, just like that, nothing much to deal with. Now I'm sitting here 2 days later. Chloe has been blowing up my phone non-stop, and I haven't responded to any of her messages. I'm not trying to punish her or play games. I'm just done. I've spent 3 years trying to be enough for someone who clearly thinks I'm not, and I'm exhausted. The crazy part, I feel lighter than I have in months. Like I've been holding my breath underwater and finally came up for air. Edit to answer some questions. Yes, I'm sure about this decision. No, I'm not planning to talk to her. Some of you are asking about the ring. Yeah, I'll need to deal with that. I paid for it, been making payments on it actually. I'll figure that out soon. Someone asked about what happened after I left the party. From what Josh told me, there was super awkward silence for like 2 minutes. Then Chloe tried to laugh it off, saying I was being dramatic. Her friend Megan backed her up, saying I can't take a joke. But apparently most people at the table weren't having it. A couple of them said what she did was messed up. She ended up leaving about 20 minutes after I did. Josh said she looked embarrassed but kept trying to act like everything was fine. Update 1. It's been 5 days since the dinner party incident, and things have escalated in ways I didn't expect. So after I walked out, I decided to go full no contact. I haven't responded to any of Chloe's calls, texts, or attempts to reach me. It's not because I'm trying to be cruel or play some kind of power game. I just genuinely have nothing to say to her. What's done is done, and I'm not interested in having some big dramatic fight where she tries to justify what she said or I end up looking like the emotional one. But apparently my silence is driving her crazy. The first night I got about 20 texts. They started with "Where did you go?" and "We need to talk about this," and escalated to "You're being so immature right now." I read them but didn't respond. The next morning she called me 6 times before 9 a.m. I sent them all to voicemail. By day 3 the messages changed tone. "I didn't mean it the way it sounded. You know I love you. We've been together for 3 years. You're really going to throw that away over one comment?" The answer is yes, Chloe. Yes, I am. When she realized I was serious about not talking to her, she started posting on social media vague stuff about people giving up too easily and fighting for what matters. A photo of her and Megan with a caption about "real friends who stick by you." I didn't engage, but I noticed. That's when I realized she wasn't just panicking about losing me. She was panicking about losing control of the situation. Then yesterday, things got interesting. I got a call from an unknown number. Ignored it. They called back immediately. I figured it might be important, so I answered. It was Megan, Chloe's best friend. "Daniel, what the hell are you doing?" she started without even saying hello. "You're really going to blow up your entire relationship because you got your feelings hurt over one joke?" I actually laughed. "Megan, with all due respect, this isn't your business." "She's my best friend, so yeah, it is my business. You're being ridiculous." So she said something insensitive. People say stuff they don't mean when they've had wine all the time. Are you really so fragile that you can't handle one comment? Here's where I kind of surprised myself. Old me would have tried to explain or justify my feelings. New me was done with that. Let me ask you something. If your boyfriend stood up in front of all your friends and said you weren't worth having kids with, would you marry him? Silence. Here's the thing, Megan. Saying something hurtful once might be an accident, but saying it repeatedly, that's just who they are, and I'm done pretending otherwise. More silence. Tell Chloe that I'm not fragile. I'm just done accepting less than the bare minimum of respect. Have a good day. I hung up. My hands were shaking a little because confrontation isn't my style, but I also felt weirdly proud of myself. About an hour later, Josh texted me. "Dude, Megan is blowing up the group chat saying you're being unreasonable, but honestly most people are on your side. Brooke said what Chloe did was horrible and she'd have done the same thing." That actually made me feel better. Meanwhile, I've been keeping myself busy, hitting the gym every morning before work. It's been years since I've had a consistent routine, and I forgot how good it feels. I've been cooking actual meals instead of just grabbing whatever. Been hanging out with Josh and some other guys from work. Last night we went to this new brewery that opened downtown. Just guys being idiots, talking about sports and work and nothing deep. It was exactly what I needed. The thing is, I'm realizing how much energy I was putting into managing Chloe's opinion of me. Trying to prove I was successful enough, ambitious enough, impressive enough. Without that constant background noise, I can just exist and do my job well without performing. Last night, I started packing up Chloe's stuff from the apartment. She has a lot here: clothes, toiletries, books, that expensive coffee maker she insisted we needed. I bought plastic bins and started organizing everything. It felt therapeutic, honestly. Like physically closing a chapter. I know at some point I'll have to talk to her to return her things and officially end the engagement. I'm just not ready yet, and that's okay. For the first time in a long time, I'm putting my own timeline and comfort first. Edit. Someone asked what happened to the engagement ring. I still have it. I've been paying it off monthly for the past year. Still owe about $2,000 on it. Legally it's mine since she's the one who caused the breakup, but honestly I don't want it around. I'm probably going to finish paying it off and then see if the jeweler will buy it back or I'll sell it. Update 2. This happened yesterday evening and I'm still processing it, so bear with me if this is a bit scattered. I got home from work around 6 p.m. Long day, tired, looking forward to heating up some leftovers and watching the game. I walked into my apartment building and immediately saw Chloe's car in the visitor parking. My stomach dropped a little, but I also felt this weird sense of calm. Like, okay, here we go. Time to end this properly. I walked to my door and she was sitting on the floor in the hallway, leaning against the wall. When she saw me, she jumped up. Her eyes were red, makeup smudged. The dramatic display I'd been expecting. Daniel, thank God. We need to talk. You can't just ignore me forever. I unlocked my door. Come inside. This shouldn't be a hallway conversation. She followed me in and I watched her face change when she saw the living room. Remember how I mentioned I'd been packing her stuff? I'd finished it all. 4 large plastic bins neatly stacked by the door, everything labeled. I'd spent my entire Sunday organizing it all. What? What is this? She was staring at the bins like she couldn't process what she was seeing. Your things, I figured you'd want them back. Daniel, this is insane. You're acting like we already broke up. I said one thing that came out wrong. I shook head. No, Chloe, we are done. I said nothing. Just went straight to the kitchen counter where I'd left an envelope, picked it up and handed it to her. This is for you. Her hands were shaking as she opened it. Inside was a small stack of photos, all the pictures we'd taken together over 3 years. Every vacation, every dinner, every moment I'd thought was building towards something. She pulled out the photos and just stared at them. What? What is this? Our history. I figured you'd want copies. I paused. I'm keeping the ring, though. I'm still paying it off, and legally it's mine now that the engagement is off. That's when she started crying. Real crying, not the performance kind. She sat down on my couch and put her face in her hands. I didn't mean it. I swear I didn't mean it the way it sounded. I was showing off for Megan and I said something stupid. I stared at her. You were showing off by putting me down. I don't know why I said it. But Daniel, 3 years. We've been together for 3 years. You're going to throw that away because I made one mistake. I sat down in the chair across from her. Chloe, be honest with yourself. Was it really just one mistake? She looked up at me, mascara running down her face. Think about it, I continued. How many times have you made comments about my job not being impressive enough, about me not being ambitious enough, about how I should be making more money or driving a better car or dressing differently? How many times have you compared me to your friends' boyfriends and made it clear I didn't measure up? I was trying to motivate you. She tried, but her voice was shaky. No, you were trying to change me into someone I'm not. And the worst part is I let you. I spent 3 years trying to be enough for someone who doesn't respect who I am. That's not true. I do respect you. Then why did you tell a room full of people that I can barely take care of myself? Why did you say you wouldn't want to have kids with someone like me? My voice stayed calm, but I could feel the emotion behind it. If you respected me, you wouldn't say things like that, joke or not. She tried to reach for my hand. I pulled back. I was drunk. People say stupid things when they're drunk. You'd had 2 glasses of wine. You weren't drunk. You were honest. And you know what? I'm grateful, because now I don't have to wonder anymore if I'm crazy for feeling disrespected. You showed me exactly how you see me, and I believe you. The thing that surprised me was how calm I felt saying all this. I wasn't yelling or crying or even particularly angry. I was just stating facts. This relationship had been over for a while. We just hadn't admitted it yet. Chloe sat there for a long moment, then said quietly, I can change. I can be better. I'll never say anything like that again. I believe you probably wouldn't. But Chloe, I don't want to be with someone who has to consciously stop themselves from disrespecting me. I want to be with someone who respects me naturally, who builds me up instead of tears me down, who's proud of who I am instead of trying to remodel me. So that's it? You're just done? Yeah, I'm done. She stood up and looked at me for a long moment, and I think she finally realized I was serious, that this wasn't some negotiation or power play. You're really doing this? I already did it. I did it the moment I walked out of that party. She picked up one of the bins, struggling with the weight. I didn't offer to help. She made 2 more trips to carry everything to her car while I stayed in the apartment. On her last trip, she stood in the doorway and said, You're making a mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. She left. I closed the door and just stood there for a minute. Then I noticed she'd left the envelope with the photos on the coffee table. I picked it up and put it in the recycling bin. She didn't want them. Well, neither did I. About an hour later, Josh showed up with pizza and beer. Figured you might need company. How'd you know? Megan posted some cryptic shit in the group chat about people giving up on relationships too easily. I put two and two together. He handed me a beer. How are you feeling? Honestly, free, lighter. Is that weird? Nah man, that's exactly how you should feel. We ate pizza and watched the game and didn't talk about Chloe at all. It was perfect. Edit. For everyone asking, the group chat situation is interesting. Josh showed me some of the messages. Megan is definitely trying to paint me as the bad guy, but it's not really working. Most people saw what happened at the party. A couple of Chloe's work friends are supporting her, but even some of her other friends are basically saying she messed up. Brooke apparently wrote, "Actions have consequences," which made Megan lose it. Final update. It's been about 3 weeks since my last update, and I wanted to give you guys a final wrap-up on everything. A lot has happened. First thing, I finished paying off the engagement ring last week. Took the last $2,000 out of my savings and just cleared it. The jeweler offered to buy it back at about 60% of what I paid, which honestly isn't terrible considering. I took the deal. That money is going toward my Colorado ski trip and maybe a new couch for the apartment. I also reached out to Chloe's sister to let her know we'd officially ended things. We'd always gotten along pretty well, and I felt like I owed her a heads up rather than having her hear it through the grapevine. She actually called me back and said she was sorry about how things ended. She mentioned she'd witnessed Chloe's behavior toward me at family gatherings and had wondered how long I'd put up with it. That was validating in a weird way. But here's where things get interesting, and this is the part I really wanted to update you guys about because it's still unfolding. About a week and a half ago, I got a text from Chloe. Just 3 words. "I miss us." I saw it, left it on read, didn't respond. Some of you might think that's cold, but I knew exactly what would happen if I engaged. We'd have some long emotional conversation where she'd promise to change, I'd feel guilty, and we'd end up right back in the same cycle. No thanks. She sent a few more messages over the next couple days. "Can we at least talk? I know I messed up, but we can fix this." 3 years has to mean something. I read them all. Didn't respond to any of them. Last week, I ran into a few people from the dinner party at a bar downtown. Brooke and Mike, the couple who'd been pretty vocal about Chloe being out of line. They waved me over and we ended up talking for a while. They told me that the fallout in the friend group has been bigger than I realized. Apparently, after the bins incident, Chloe had a complete meltdown in the group chat. Started sending long messages about how I was cruel and heartless for throwing her out and packing her things like garbage. Megan backed her up hard, saying I was punishing Chloe for one mistake, but Brooke said it backfired completely. Someone in the chat pointed out that Chloe's stuff was organized in labeled bins, which wasn't exactly treating it like garbage. And someone else mentioned that maybe, if you publicly humiliate your fiancé, you shouldn't be surprised when he decides he's done. The whole thing apparently devolved into this huge argument. The end result: the friend group basically split. Chloe and Megan have their little duo of support, maybe 2 other people. Everyone else has basically distanced themselves from both of them. Not because people took my side specifically, but because watching how Chloe handled the aftermath showed them more about her character. Brooke said Chloe kept demanding everyone validate her feelings and got angry when people wouldn't agree that I was the villain. But wait, it gets better. 2 weeks ago, Chloe started trying to reach out again. Not apologetic messages this time, though. She'd switched tactics. Started posting on social media again about knowing your worth and not accepting less than you deserve. Lots of quotes about strong women and not settling. Real subtle, right? Then her posts got more specific. Pictures of her out with friends, captions about living my best life and grateful for people who support me unconditionally. Then last Friday, she posted a photo at a really nice restaurant downtown with some guy I didn't recognize. Caption was something about new adventures with a heart emoji. Cool, whatever. Good for her, honestly. Except here's the thing, Josh told me that Megan had apparently been coaching Chloe to make me jealous by posting stuff like that. The guy in the photo, her coworker who's gay and happily married. The whole thing was staged to get a reaction from me, but it gets better. The coworker had no idea Chloe was using him like that. When he saw the post with the caption implying they were on a date, he commented right on it. "Chloe, what is this? You know I'm married. This is weird." Apparently it got a bunch of likes before she panicked deleted the whole post. Josh said the screenshots were circulating in the group chat and people were cringing hard. I've even been on a couple dates. Nothing serious, just coffee and dinner with a woman I met at the gym. Her name's Amy, she's a physical therapist, really easy to talk to. We've been texting pretty regularly. I posted a photo of us at a coffee shop last week. Nothing romantic, just two people smiling and didn't think much of it. Apparently, Chloe saw it, or someone told her about it, because 2 days after I posted that photo, I got a long email from Chloe, not asking to get back together, not apologizing. It was basically a manifesto listing all the ways I'd failed as a partner and warning that whoever this new woman is, she'll figure it out too. Things like how I didn't support her career enough, how I never wanted to go to the events she wanted to attend, how I was emotionally unavailable and couldn't handle a strong woman. The kicker was the last paragraph. I hope she realizes what she's getting into before she wastes 3 years like I did. You'll never change, and she'll leave you just like I should have left you a long time ago. It was wild, honestly. Like she'd rewritten our entire 3-year relationship in her head. In her version, apparently she was the victim who stayed too long with someone beneath her, not the person who publicly humiliated her fiancé at a dinner party. I didn't respond. I forwarded it to Josh with the message, "Well, dodged that bullet," and deleted it. Then I blocked her on everything. Amy and I are still talking, and I'm not rushing into anything, but it's nice to have conversation with someone who asks about my day and actually listens to the answer instead of waiting for their turn to talk about themselves. Chloe expected me to fight for her. She expected me to come crawling back, begging for another chance, promising to change. When I didn't, when I just calmly removed her from my life and moved on, it completely threw her. She can't handle that narrative. In her version of events, she's the catch and I'm the one who should be devastated. Instead, I've been going out with friends. I've been genuinely happy, and she can't stand it. I'm 32 years old. I have a career I'm good at and actually enjoy. I have real friends who showed up for me when it mattered. I have my own apartment, my own life, my own peace. I'm not willing to trade any of that for someone who sees me as a project instead of a partner. Thanks for everything, Reddit. I'm out. Edit. Since people are asking, yes, Chloe did eventually get the message that I'm done. After the email got no response, she tried calling from different numbers a few times. I blocked them all. Haven't heard anything in about a week now. I think she's finally realized I mean it.